I'm Andy Branton, a country blues singer-songwriter from Louisville, Kentucky. I grew up in Alabama, and in my late teens and early 20s, I cut my teeth playing guitar for other people in bands around West Central Alabama. I stepped out to do a solo career and moved to Louisville, Kentucky a few years ago and got adopted by a wonderful calico kitty. The latest tune that I have out on streaming services is called Big Time. Big Time was inspired by a lot of different events, and all those events sort of center around a songwriters festival in New Orleans. Right after my wife and I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and times were kind of tight, money was, we were a little light in the pocket on cash, I had a songwriters festival that I was booked for, but it didn't pay anything. That's not really unusual for songwriters festivals. Most songwriters don't get paid at most songwriters festivals. But still, even knowing that, I was kind of bummed out about it. So that kind of being bummed out, that despair, that's the first verse of Big Time. That's that feeling, and I describe it, I think, pretty well. The second verse talks about traveling down to New Orleans that is inspired by eating fast food on the road and the tires on the car being worn out, playing happy hour gigs in order to afford the fast food and hopefully enough gas to get to New Orleans and back. Then I believe the third verse talks about my hummingbird, my guitar. So my hummingbird's not that old. It's only from 2011, but I've broken it a lot. I've cracked the top on it a couple of times, maybe more than a couple, and I've broken the neck on it as well. But I've always been able to get it repaired, typically by very qualified people, and pretty quickly get it turned around out of their shop. And it's kind of surprising, right? This thing that is such a huge part of who I am as a songwriter can be repaired after just being put through the ringer. But that's not how relationships work, right? Especially, a relationship with a musician. So that third verse plays with that idea. And the chorus has some references to actually being at the festival, including one of my friends who was down there playing on the festival with me. He didn't have a place to stay, so he ends up staying with us at our Airbnb and just sleeping on the floor because we didn't have any extra beds or couches or anything. And he was happy to do it, and that's kind of how it goes sometimes. I love a lot of things, but if I had to zero in on just one thing, it would probably be this feeling of creating something out of thin air. I know I'm not really doing that, but that's how it feels. And there's like a mystical element to it that I'm tapping into. Really love that. I think if you want to write a song, you should do it. I know that sounds simple or reductive or whatever, but it's the truth. You just need to write it. In order to get the idea out, you got to write it. In order to get to the good ideas, you've got to write the bad ideas. They can't all be bangers. Stop worrying about whether or not it's going to be good or not, because that's not the point. The point is to write it. So you can listen to my music in all the usual places, and if you go to andybranton.com, there are links that will take you to those places. I'm on Apple Music and Spotify, just under my own name, Andy Branton. Then I'm on YouTube as well, under Brother AB. And I even sometimes have songs on TikTok. So if you go onto my TikTok page, you'll see videos of my cat and the occasional video of me playing guitar.